and again, this is another way to map this out. Now, I personally think that we spend too much energy trying to convert the choir in churches to help address poverty issues, and not enough actually equipping people with the skills that they need to carry out that ministry once they are converted. Moreover, I don't think we help them understand the different choices they have to make. And we do a lot of beating up on churches that want to just do like a food pantry, but we don't take the time to educate them as to the whole map of possibilities. I used to beat up on food pantries, but then one day I woke up and I said, you know, if I were out of a job, how long would my savings last? And when the day might come where I need to go to a food pantry. So it's not as though it's service delivery versus systemic change. It's both and. This is a whole field of activities. I would liken this whole thing to a practice like farming or law or medicine, where you've got to have different people doing different things, and you would fail to carry out your mission of, let's say in medicine, your mission of healing, or in law of justice, if you didn't have all of them, groups willing to engage in all of them. Does that make sense? So even though ministries in this quadrant don't seek systemic change, we still need for these things to be going on. Direct service delivery, service learning, service project, short-term mission trips, disaster relief, consciousness raising, and so forth. The way this axis, or the way this chart works is it indicates which one of these strategies are aiming to put social change efforts in the hands of people most affected. And that happens up here in the strategies of faith-based community organizing and youth community organizing. Up here we have the most intense level or intense degree of systemic institutional change. Strategies down here effect the least amount of systemic change. Then there's the leadership role axis. We have to ask ourselves, is it status quo church, people like us who are carrying out the action, or is it poor people themselves who are carrying out the action in solidarity with others? So youth community organizing is a strategy that seeks to optimize systemic change in the hands of grassroots decision makers in frontline neighborhoods. The most recent shift in this movement is toward making sure that spirituality is at the core of it. What has happened in our nation is that liberal activists have seen a kind of privatized spirituality and have complained against it, but then merely complained against it and abandoned spirituality altogether. Activists have begun to realize you can't go very long in activism unless you have a vital, robust spirituality at the very core, especially among the groups who are most marginalized and excluded by our social problems, because they are the ones most prone, they could fall into despair, just the enormity of it all. And so groups are recovering the rich legacy of social justice movements that were grounded in spiritual practice, such as Martin Luther King Jr., Dorothy Day, Oscar Romero, and others. Now, I just thought I'd mention another group. This is just kind of by the way. It's not related to youth community community organizing, but it's part of this larger hunger in our society for people in social justice activism to recover a vital spirituality. And I'd encourage you to look at the network of spiritual progressives. One of its leaders is Rabbi Michael Lerner. What's his magazine? Tikkun. Yeah. And then Cornell West and Sister Joan Chittister were the co-founders of this. And their goals in this group are similar to the goals of youth community organizing. Change the bottom line in America, reduce military spending, replace the strategy of enlargement and domination with a strategy of generosity, and then challenge the anti-spiritual bias within liberal culture, but also the abuses of religion by the religious right. And the Movement Strategy Center in California depicts this recent trend in this way. And they ask, this question down here asks, how would each one of these different areas of organizing need to change if we did put spirit at the very core of everything? If spirit was at the core of our organizing model, our theories of social change, how we run our meetings, how we go about giving leadership, how we build alliances with others, and so forth. And then finally, here's their vision of holistic change that youth community organizing seeks. You need to have individual personal transformation and redemption, as well as redemption of systems and structures, social change, good works. You not only need the personal spirituality, but we need to support religious institutions that resource spirituality. And all of this is known as transformational organizing. And this, again, just shows the different components. Individual change, societal change, change in the whole culture of how we go about organizing, changing the strategies, changing our organizations from within. Now, there are three basic models of these groups. There are hundreds of these groups around the country. It's hard to get a head count on them because there's just no official group anywhere that, like there are churches, you know, the Presbyterians know how many congregations they have, the Methodists know how many they have. There's no official group, umbrella group. They're just, these are kind of parceled everywhere, so it's hard to know how many of these there are. There are three different types. Completely youth-initiated and youth-led groups. A young person gets a burning passion, let's say about gay issues or getting military recruiters out of public high schools, and so they start organizing and put together community organizing groups. Then there are groups that operate under the umbrella of an existing adult group, and this is coming to be more and more common. Alinsky-style groups are spawning youth farms all around the country. And then there are intergenerational groups where the youth and adults work as co-equal partners. And this is especially true when it comes to organizing around issues of public schooling. So the second and third models are more popular today. The typical age range of the people in the groups is age 13 through 18, but some organizations are creating a version even for middle school kids because they want to begin early to win the soul before drug dealers and other visions get into the heads of so-called at-risk youth.